Hey guys, it's Najam. This is the Panasonic TZ60. It's a travel camera with a really tiny sensor and a really high megapixel count. In this video I'm going to review this camera as well as talk about the image quality, and I am interested in buying a pocket camera that I really like, that has good image quality, and I really enjoy using it because I tend to just want one camera in my pocket that does a lot, but I also want really nice image quality. I came across this TZ60 which caught my eye because this has 18 megapixels and it also has 30 times optical zoom. So I was interested and I picked it up. Now this camera has a reputation of just having really noisy images, and I'm going to show you the images and I'm going to talk about them as well. But first off, I just want to go over some features that this camera has and what I like about it and what I don't like about it, and we'll jump straight into the image quality. So if you look around the camera, you can see that it has a viewfinder which is very nice. Let's go ahead and turn it on. And the display on this camera is very nice. It's actually a very nice display, and that's one of the things I like about it. It does have one dial at the back, and also the ring around the lens is also you can use this as a dial. It also has custom modes which is very nice, and I use them quite a lot in this day and age. The lens on this is 30 times optical zoom. It shows right over here on the side, and this goes from 24 millimeters all the way to 720 millimeters. And as you can see, well, the one I have unfortunately is now a bit damaged for some weird reason. I had it in my pocket and now the lens cover doesn't close properly. If I turn it off, as you can see, it's a bit dodgy. It kind of does work, you just need to shake it, but so I've managed to damage it by just keeping it in my pocket, which is not very nice. But and it does get in the way, a little bit, but you can use it. But this lens is crazy long. I mean, it goes really long. You can zoom in quite far with this lens. So let's go over some specifications before we get into the image quality. This has an 18 megapixel 1/2.3 of an inch sensor, which is minuscule. It's really tiny, and that's how they managed to fit a 720 millimeters into this size. The price, you're going to find this used for £100, which is what I paid for it as well. And so that, in my opinion, that's a good price for this camera. You get quite a lot inside it as well. It does do 1080p video, and the video with this zoom range is quite nice. It doesn't allow you to control the video very well, but it is what it is. It does have optical image stabilization in the lenses, and I have to say these Lumix lenses with the tiny cameras, as well as in the G9 or the Micro Four Thirds cameras, the lenses have really good image stabilization, and this quite surprised me because you can use a quarter of a second at the wide end, half a second at the wide end, and you can get a sharp shot. So for low light you can do slow shutter speeds, but I wouldn't recommend this for low light, and we'll get into why. Now I don't think this has bad image quality at all. In fact, I don't think it has bad noise performance. Let's talk about what I like about this camera. I like the zoom range. I like the close-up focusing distance. It's almost a macro lens. It's not 1:1, but it's very close. You can get right on top of the lens. It focuses very close. With these tiny pocket cameras or travel cameras that have one lens that does everything, they do get really close. I've got 3 cameras now like this, and I'll review all of them on this channel. The reviews are coming, but these focus really close to the lens, and you can get really close-up shots. The other thing is I like about this is the megapixels. Now I actually bought this because it has an 18 megapixel sensor rather than a 12 or a 10 megapixel sensor, because my philosophy is that you can downscale the images and you can get a cleaner image afterwards anyways, which is actually the case with this camera. Let's talk about the things I don't like about this camera. The one thing I don't like is that the performance is a bit sluggish when you're doing certain things like going through the menus or switching modes. I can probably show you that right now. So if I go into different mode, you can see that there is just a little bit lag, and well, it's probably not doing it as much now, but it just feels a bit sluggish. And same thing with zooming in and zooming out. When you're doing multiple stuff, it gets laggy as well, and so it's a bit annoying to use. That wise, like, it's a bit slow, but at the end of the day, it's a camera. So anyways, with that out of the way, let's get on to the image quality. To start off, because this goes to almost 800 millimeters, I did some bird photography, which I don't usually do. So let's have a look at this image here. Now this is at 720 millimeters, and if you go to 100% and zoom in, you can see I've sharpened it up a bit, and at ISO 100 you can see there's some noise around in the image. I did a brand new edit on this, and as you can see I've cleaned it up quite a bit. I've got some sharpening on it, and in my opinion this actually looks pretty nice for what this camera is capable of. Now I'm going to show you the differences between a noise reduction on and noise reduction off in these images. So this is ISO 100, this is raw out of the camera, and if you zoom into 100% you can see how it looks. If you go ahead and apply an edit to it that you want, you'll see that it is noisy, and with some noise reduction this is what I'm able to get. So here's the raw image, there's the edit, and there's the noise reduction image, and this, I would say this is a final image from me on this camera, and I think it's pretty nice. Here's another image at 100%. You can see the detail you'll be able to pull out. Next up we have an ISO test. I'm going to zoom in to 200% if you are watching this on Ultra HD. This is ISO 160. This is ISO 400, and this is without any noise reduction. This is ISO 800, and as you can see it is looking a bit noisy. This is indoors under room lighting conditions. This is ISO 1600, and this is ISO 3200, which looks really noisy. This is an image shot at ISO 3200 at night time, and you can see that it is very noisy. But if you take multiple exposures in night time and you blend them together, you can get a clean image with this camera. This image was shot at ISO 3200, and I've done some noise reduction on it, and you can see that you can clean up the images and you can get some decent looking nighttime shots. This is another image shot at nighttime. This camera is definitely capable of taking images at nighttime. You can see this has some noise in the image, but overall it's actually pretty nice. These images are shot at really long focal distances. They're not at 720 millimeters, but they are pretty long. They're pretty far away, and they're really good. Now this image here is at 600 millimeters, and you can zoom into 100%. You can see that it is a little bit soft. It does seem like motion blur, but it's actually not. The lens is a little soft in the long end. If you're shooting images at wider focal lengths, you can see this image is actually very sharp, and it has a lot of detail in. This image has been scaled down to Ultra HD, so you have quite a lot of information in here, and you can zoom in even further if you wanted, and if you didn't scale it down. This is another image at 600 millimeters, and you can see I have sharpened it up, and it's actually come out quite nice, but there is some softness in areas. This image has been taken at ISO 640 at nighttime, and it was very dark and foggy. You can see there's some noise in the image, but I do like this image. Now this image here was shot at ISO 1600, and you can see the amount of noise in the image, but if you zoom into 100%, it looks like a very nice image. Same goes for this one. There is some noise reduction in this image, and I've cleaned it up quite a bit, and I think this is pretty nice. This image was taken at 600 millimeters, and you can get some detailed shots when zooming into subjects. This is a close-up shot of keys, and you can see how close we can get to the subject. In my opinion, the 18 megapixels has been helpful, and it does have a lot of detail in the images. I do find, however, when you zoom in further away to 720 millimeters, the lens is a bit soft. But otherwise, I'm actually pretty happy with the image quality. You can do a little bit of noise reduction and get really good images. The detail is very nice from the 18 megapixels, and it does capture quite a lot of information. So do I recommend this camera for £100 is actually a very good camera. But I do have another camera that I think is much better than this, although it doesn't go to 720mm. So check out my channel for that review of that camera. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video.